Well, hey, church, if you'll allow me to be presumptuous for just a second, I want to thank you in advance for maybe giving the next 3 to 5 minutes of your life to listening to me sort of rehearse some of God's faithfulness to us as a church this past year. And then also, I'm going to give you a challenge at the end, okay? So here we go. When we look at the metrics of this year, and we've got 2 pages of actual metrics of this year that I'm not going to go through the whole of, but I'm going to give you a summary of, and we compare them to our 4 pillars of gather, connect, grow, and serve. We see the hand of the Lord on this ministry, and we are grateful. You know, we look at Gather, for example, and actually that's something that we realized over a year ago, is that over a year ago, and the Lord has just continued to bless this in this past year, we had outgrown who and what we were, at least numerically, prior to COVID. That's really a stunning statement. I'm sure that we're not the only church to be able to say that, but we're the only church that I know that can say that at this moment. And I think that's particularly difficult and particularly indicative of God's work among us, given where we're at. We are in hard soil in the city of Fort Lauderdale. And just as an example of that, there has not been a successful church plant in the city of Fort Lauderdale in the last 17 or 18 years. And it's not for lack of trying, or for lack of talent, or for lack of resources, or for anything else. It's hard soil here. And what that says is that the Lord, guys, He's blessed us. And we're really, really grateful. You know, you can apply that same kind of thinking to connect. So gather and then connect. We have grown this year, and all the metrics indicate this, in our desire to grow in relationship with Jesus by growing together as people. We're seeing more people in community groups, in our learning groups, in our micro groups, and so forth, gathering together and saying, no, I need to do life with you, and really coming to rejoice and to enjoy that. We see that in the grow aspect, to gather, connect, and then grow, meaning to grow spiritually. We have more people doing personal worship. And by the way, and I can say this because I don't write it and I don't do it, somebody else on our staff does. It is better done than it has ever been in the past. Like, we have more people engaging in personal worship than ever before. We have more people listening to that really excellent podcast that Sam and Will do than ever before. We have more people saying, I want to take advantage of the opportunities that this church is giving me to grow in the scriptures and to be formed by the scriptures. And then fourthly, the 4th pillar is serve. You know, we're fresh off of Fall Fest. We're coming out of that. And I just want to say how proud I was of all of the people from Rio who really embraced the challenge to come out as part of our church in connection with 6 other churches to bless this community. It was absolutely awesome. There's story after story about families that this church has kept off the streets of Fort Lauderdale, people that have been helped in really practical, powerful, and amazing ways. Our Love Bags team, our Care Portal team, and all of the ways that you guys are serving in this community to help Jesus shine here is a blessing to us all. So thank you so much for that. Those are the tangible things. Those are the measurable metrics. But I want to comment for a minute on the immeasurable things. And the immeasurable thing that I'm experiencing, that I'm seeing, and frankly, that you can't count, but that you can feel, is just the presence of God in this place. God is answering our prayers. And we have more people praying than we have ever had, probably in the history of this church. And I feel Him. And I hope that you feel Him. And you can see Him and sense Him as we gather, as we worship. The Lord is speaking. The Lord is bringing people to faith in Jesus in our services. He's bringing people to faith in Jesus through Alpha. He's bringing people to faith in Jesus through you. And that is to be rejoiced in. So let me give you a challenge, and I'll cut you loose for the rest of your day, however much of it is left. All right, challenge first is I want you to pray. Like, if you're not praying, start praying. If you are praying, keep praying or amp up your prayer. We believe that God's work is infinitely more valuable than our work, and He works when we pray. So if you want to know, for example, how to get the prayer list that comes out every single week, or how to engage in the men's prayer group that happens every Wednesday night, or how to engage and become a part of this prayer team that every Saturday afternoon comes together to cry out for the presence of the Lord in this place and in this city, I want you to reach out to Beth. Just email her and she'll give you the information on that. Secondly, I want to challenge you to serve. Reach out to Drew, email her. part of what she's here to do is to help you find your place in service. We are all part of a body and we're all a different part, right? And all the parts matter to all the other parts. And this city needs a fully functioning Rio. And we need you, and I want to give you a very specific challenge in that regard, and it's children's ministry. We desperately need people to serve in children's ministry. We are burning out our children's ministry workers for lack of other servant leaders who are willing to come be a part of investing in our kids. And that's not because we don't have enough people to do it. We have way more than enough people to do it. If you want to change the future, invest in the next generation, do that. Second serve thing would be invite a friend to Christmas Eve or to one of our Advent services. Last week, somebody took up the challenge from the previous week that I had laid out. Just invite somebody to church, like talk, to have a spiritual conversation. He emailed me that Sunday afternoon and said, I reached out to my friend. I invited him to come to church. I was super nervous about it. And you know what? He said yes. And now he's coming. And that next Saturday, the friend reached out to him and said, are we still good for church? He said, yeah. The man came to church this past Sunday. I could see him sitting out there with his friends. He enjoyed it. He said he's coming back. And kind of the takeaway for this Rio person who invited his friend was, man, that was easy. It's easy. It's much easier than we imagine. Okay, last thing, last challenge. I want you to give financially. If you're at all able, please do that. This is the month of December, 25%. Year after year, the statistics are that 25% of all of the giving for the whole calendar year comes in just this month, which financially speaking makes it the most critical month of the year for us. And it's the month that establishes a firm financial foundation for the next year. If you are able to remember us in your year-end giving, please do so, and do so as generously as you can. So there's your challenge, guys. Pray, serve, give, and just keep being awesome. We love you. We're so grateful for you. This place is special because of you, because of your involvement. We're not a bunch of buildings. We're a group of people. So we love you. We are grateful for you. Merry Christmas. See you Sunday.